Let's ride.
Skies over much of the East Coast. Philadelphia is experiencing its worst air quality in 24 years, and state workers in New Jersey were told to come in late.
The scale of this is extraordinary.
The sky over Manhattan looked downright dystopian Wednesday as smog lit up the horizon red, obscuring the iconic skyline. But what a difference a day makes.
I'm Lilia Luciano in New York, where the air has cleared a bit. It went from hazardous yesterday to unhealthy today. That means that it could still be dangerous for people with underlying health conditions. That's why the city's giving out free masks to anybody who needs them.
I figure if I wear two, it would be much better for me.
With young children at greater risk, New York City schools switched to remote learning on Friday.
The message is this is not over. We might get a little respite, but I don't want people to let down their guard.
Despite warnings from officials to stay inside, neither rain nor snow nor smog will stop the U.S. Postal Service.
You can visibly see that the air is just not you don't want to breathe it in too much.
Construction sites around the city kept going too.
I'm outside because I need to work, but everybody can stay at home.
And dog walker Monique Benjamin says she's still showing up for her canine clients.
I was wearing a mask for most of my walk with Toby here. I do have asthma, so I do worry about it.
Now, there is some good news. The EPA tells CBS News this afternoon that most healthy adults and children will recover quickly from smoke exposure and won't suffer any long-term health consequences. Nora?
That is good news. Christina Raffini, thanks.
So, my eyes are correct.
Donald joins us right now. Norm is the Deputy Director of Fire Protection for the state of Alaska. And you might be wondering why we're talking to a guy in Alaska, because he knows this stuff very well. He also knows about the hundreds of U.S. firefighters who are making their way to our friends to the north to help out in the firefight. So, Director, it's very good to have you. How bad do you think this gets? We're talking about close to 400 fires that are still going on now. And the fact is that fires beget more fires, and the conditions are ripe for a lot more of that. So what are we in for?
Yeah, they've had an early start to their season, and luckily for Alaska, we are having a late start to ours, so we're able to help out with sending resources to Canada and help them. But yeah, you're right. The concern is when we have a season like they're having on top of a busy season in the lower 48 in Alaska, and just that shortage of resources. We're stretched thin already, so fire seasons overlapping like that is our concern.
You know, Director, I was curious. A lot of the trouble seems to be centered now around Quebec, where 150 fires are still active and spreading. How do you stop the spread when there's no rain in the forecast and you've got serious, wind issues for at least much of the eastern part of Canada? So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, that's the challenge, no matter where you are, is when you get conditions like that and as dry as they are and with winds, those are very difficult fires to contain and control. So a lot of times we just you fall back to getting people out of the way, and as you get a lull in the weather, a change of conditions, take advantage of that and increase your operations. And a lot, I'm sure, in Canada, and a lot of what we do in the United States and in Alaska is that planning with fuels mitigation and fuels work and fuels breaks. So when you do have a season like this, you have a place where you can have firefighters.
5 minutes later.
Welcome to the News Hour. A heavy pall of polluted air still blankets much of the eastern U.S. tonight. It may not dissipate for days as fires in Canada send vast curtains of smoke drifting south.
The bad air has officials warning, in effect, that breathing can be hazardous to your health. It's also scrambling schedules from airports to schools to the White House. Stephanie Tsai has our report.
A huge swath of the country spent another day shrouded in haze. This morning, smoke still obscured parts of the Manhattan skyline.
The smoke obliterated the island yesterday, so it's obviously not just a passing phase, of wind changes, but it's serious pollution in the air.
As hundreds of wildfires rage out of control in Canada, winds have carried the smoke farther south, all the way to Raleigh, North Carolina, which woke up to hazy skies. And in the nation's capital, a blanket of smoke lay over the White House, blurring the Washington Monument in the distance. White House officials postponed tonight's outdoor Pride celebration until Saturday. Millions of people were under hazardous air quality advisories today from the Northeast to the South and parts of the Midwest. Authorities advise people to stay indoors, especially young children, the elderly, and those with respiratory issues.
Level of danger compared to...
Allergy and immunology specialist Dr. Purvi Parikh described the health risks.
Wildfire smoke has particulate matter that's very, very small, and that small particulate matter can really get lodged deep into your lungs, so it can cause a lot more lung damage in the short term and long term. And in addition to these particles, wildfire smoke has a variety of gases, too, that can be harmful to breathe in.
New York State is making 1 million N95 masks available to the public, including 400,000 for New York City.
Just want to make sure that we're being as safe as we can to protect our health.
The city's mayor, Eric Adams, has gone door to door distributing masks to residents. He says the worst of the air may be behind the city.
The smoke models are not indicating another large plum over the city, so there's a chance for significant improvement by tomorrow morning and throughout the day tomorrow.
Even so, New York City announced that public schools will teach remotely tomorrow. Meantime, poor visibility prompted the Federal Aviation Administration to cancel or delay flights into New York area airports and Philadelphia's international airport. The danger
built on legends, and that legends are a way of understanding things greater than ourselves, forces that shape our lives, events that defy explanation. Individuals whose lives soar to the heavens or fall to the earth. This is how legends are born.